Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Australia-New Zealand 4-Key Mania Tournament 2025 Week 2 Map Showcase. I am Lusty Platypus, and I am joined today with my fellow commentator, staynoidedd.
How's it going, everybody?
I feel like we've got some nice surprises in store for everyone today. I'm sure everyone's very keen to see all the maps that we have on offer, and we'll be jumping in very shortly. This week, of course, is best of 9, which means there's going to be an extra Rice and extra LN pick compared to last week. So there's more goodies for everyone to start practicing. And we're going to jump right in with the first Rice pick, which is called Xiaoping Guo GBC Edit.
Bit of a mouthful. This is a 131 BPM speed pick. This is our speed pick for the tournament. It's got quite a lot of breaks, so you're not going to really be not too physically demanding. But if you're not accustomed to this BPM, you really could be messed up here. As you can see, just a couple 1-4 breaks as we get into it.
Yeah, this is one that will definitely test your speed skills, but there are, like you said, many breaks, which means that it's not quite as hard as it might seem from the get-go. It will mean, though, that, if you're not up to the speed, it's going to be quite rough, and the accuracy is not going to be very easy either.
Yeah, definitely. It's a little bit on the shorter side, only 2.5 minutes, but it really shouldn't be too much. This isn't really meant to test your stamina. It just meant to test your finger independency, and it should be all right. But as we can see, speed picks can kind of be the crux for some less experienced players. But I'm really excited to see what these Group A players are capable of. As you may or may not know, this will be the first time our Group A, that is our top 1 and top 16, I believe, seeded players that will be playing these map pools and versing each other in their own respective stage.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see as well the differentials. Obviously, this is round 2 for the Group B, so it's expected to be a difficulty increase. But like you said, coming in fresh for the Group A players having a week break from the qualifiers, it'll be interesting to see what they can pull out on these maps as well.
Definitely. Still easier than the qualifiers, but still nothing to laugh at. As some of these maps may give you some ZBrush, some misses here and there, but I'm really excited to see what the top players, especially our number 1 and 2 seeds, are capable of probably demolishing a map pool like this.
Yeah, for sure. And as we're closing out in the final bits here, you can see no spikes, nothing flashy. It's just very straightforward pick here on the speed side.
And that just about wraps it up. That was our speed pick, Rice 1. And in just a little bit, we're going to be moving on to Rice 2, our handstream pick. I actually don't know how to pronounce this. Do you want to take a crack at it?
Oh, no, I did the last one. You can give this one a go.
Eso goto no sekai watashi. That's
excellent.
Something. We got a flashlight play here because, it's potty. Yep. But we've lightened it up just for the viewing pleasures. This is relatively simple map. Just some spikes here, but as previous to Rice 1, this is very, very straightforward. Coming in at 195 BPM.
Yeah, this one I think we're going to see the most accuracy wars on. I think it's the most straightforward. I don't think there's any 1/6 beats or anything to trip you up. It's just strict hand streams at 195, which I think for some players, especially in the A bracket, is going to be very comfortable. There is a few little tricks towards the end that might catch you off guard if you're not ready, but other than that, it's pretty much going to be an act war throughout. You can see there's some very core Jackie sections here, which are infamously easy to just spam ratio on.
Yeah, and we saw in last week's Week 1 with Group B that players more lean towards favoring these more simplistic Rice plays. So this is probably going to be a comfortable pick for people who did well on charts like Refrain from the previous pool. And this is also quite short, only coming in at 2 minutes and 2 seconds.
Yeah, we get a little break here before the last quarter of the map. In this last quarter, there are some little mini jacks hidden into the map. If you're not ready for them, you can easily miss on them. But other than that, I don't think there's anything that's going to trip up players if they've been playing comfortably so far.
Definitely. I think we can also, I'd like to challenge some players. Maybe try putting on Flashlight of your own, see if you can get Potty score. But I wouldn't suggest it. Potty's kind of the GOAT when it comes to this mod.
Yeah, you can see these little mini jacks here. Nothing too difficult, but again, you just have to be ready for them. And then closing out Rice pick number 2, quite straightforward.
Definitely. A nice V1SS from Potassium F. And we move on to Rice 3, with the mixed rice, vodka neotonic, by AusNZ. And this is a bit more Gracie, a bit more of a technical pick. Bit more comfortable for those who are used to unconventional patterns and, a little bit of rolls every now and then.
Yeah, this one definitely requires like the attention to detail as well. If you just chord out all of the grace notes, you're gonna drop accuracy a lot, and it might actually cost you as well.
Definitely a little bit longer, coming in at 2 minutes 34 seconds, but 128 BPM. There's some graces here, 1.6, 1.8, but nothing, especially the Group A people can handle. Group B, it might be a bit more of a daunting task, but yeah, as you see, these little trails can really mess a player up. So do be warned, but if you're a B player. But I'm really excited to see these Group A scores.
Yeah, I think this one will see a lot of attention in the upper brackets as well as a pick towards the latter half. Again, like I find these price picks that are like in the middle of the pack for difficulty tend to get sidelined a bit. They don't really see bans, they don't really see protects, so they're always going to be up in my experience, which means we might be seeing a lot of this one.
Yeah, and as we progress throughout the song, it gets a little bit more intense. You do see these 1/4 streams that kind of packing the difficulty here, and yeah, kind of just like these broken streams and gluts. Really need to look out for.
Yeah, and the broken streams, depending on how you play them, can be quite draining as well. If you fully like bottom out everything, and like the way I play, basically like playing this, it really drained me having to stop and start so much as well if you're not careful with it.
Yeah, definitely. This is a chart suited for the more fluid players who kind of just like to be a little bursty in their actions. And we approach the final quarter, and I do believe it is another jump stream bit. Yeah, we're approaching another jump stream bit. A lot more rolls in this one, so just do be careful about this one.
Yeah, nothing you haven't seen before in this map though, so no surprises towards the end. I think a few of the maps have pretty surprising endings, but not this one. Yeah, so it's closing out here. A few little core jacks, and then that will be it for Rice pick number 3.
Do you like the diff name, Alcoholism?
Yes, yep.
And I do believe that was a collab with Ramu, so a nice little chart here. And on to the next Rice pick, which is more Jack-focused pick, a staple name in the tournament scene, Shoegazer with Swamp Thing.
Yeah, this one, a lot of, not very high density, so we're not looking at quad jacks per se, but a lot of little, mini jacks basically, chained together with these little bursty grace notes. If you're not really good at transitioning from mini jacks into other patterns, this is going to be very difficult for you.
Yeah, while this is a Jack-focused map, do not be fooled, because these graces and these little flams can really trip up your accuracy. And as you said before, if you can't transition well, this is going to give you a tough time. And you just see this little stream over here. And it's just full of mini jacks, really, but I love this. This is a personal favorite of mine in the Mappool this week.
Yeah, if you're very good at controlling your technique with jacks, this is going to be probably one of the easier picks for you. Those little bursty bits, though, if you're not good at transitioning out, you're going to struggle with them. They're going to drop your accuracy or something like that. It can be quite tricky, especially these bursty bits here. If you're not ready for them, it's just going to take you out.
Yeah, and we are on OD8, which isn't too much of a difficult test. Most of the pool is OD8, but these will probably be a bit more difficult for this Group B action. But I really think a majority of Group A has this in the bag. This would be a bit more of a accuracy pick, but maybe chance for dropping a couple of 200s, dropping a 100 to see if they can get an edge over their opponent. So I assume this is going to be used in a lot more close matches in Group A.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one where, especially in bracket A, I think this is going to be a big accuracy pick.
Definitely. We approach the final quarter and do see a couple of doubles and picking up in density a little bit, but nothing too much to handle as we just continue this repeated notion of these doubles and these cool jackhammers.
Yeah, the last bit here, the last chorus, definitely harder than the rest of the map on the density side, but not so much harder where if you're comfortable with that speed and density, you're going to struggle.
Definitely. Just a little bit of great action at the end here as we end our Rice 4 pick and move on to the final Rice 5.
All right, our next and final Rice pick is Boss Fight No Wise. The flip difficulty. This one is one, again, that I think requires a lot of attention to the details here. There's a lot of flams and mix-ins. It's very different from all the other Rice picks so far as well. It's also the first Rice pick that actually has, I believe it's the only one that has LNs in it at all.
Yeah, they shouldn't be too much of a hassle to deal with. They're just very straightforward. Macked by Felix Spade. Felix Spade's been around for a while, and I think they really cooked with this chart.
Yeah, and you can see already these little flams and grace notes and stuff. If you don't have the attention to detail here to actually play them out, you're going to drop accuracy a lot.
Definitely. Shorter end as well, a little higher OD with OD 8.2, 174 BPM, but really is a bit more of a comfort pick than Rice 3. If you're looking for something that's a little techy, but not too absurd like Rice 3. But as you just do see here, there's a little bit of jacks and a little bit of mini jacks.
Yeah, I did find that most of it, the patterns in particular aren't too hard to play themselves. It is the accuracy that will be difficult if you're looking to go for those higher scores, or if you were forced to go for those higher scores because of your competition. It will demand a lot more from you in this map, and you can see here these bursty sections are quite rough potentially for some players, especially with the short little break there and then straight back into it.
Yes, definitely, as we pick up here, and these actually are very hard to hit, as you kind of just have to alternate between your hands, and it can get really difficult, especially with these rolly bursts. So I assume a lot of this will be the skill check in most of Group B, but in Group A, especially with a higher seed, I think it'll just be your average walk in the park.
Yeah, another day on the grind for Group A potentially.
Yes, and we just finishing up here, and a kind of a difficult jack section at the end, but hopefully no one misses. Hopefully I don't jinx anyone in future matches.
The choke potential.
That is the end of our Rice picks. 5 of them, so a lot to choose from, and we head into, I think you guys are going to join this, a all custom LN set. So we have LN1 coordination by our very own Fevrex with Birdbrain by Jamie Page.
Yeah, this one will definitely test, well, like you said, your coordination with LNs. If you're not very confident with very techy, complicated holds, this one's going to make you struggle a bit. There's a lot of little tricks and stuff like that, short LNs that you can drop accuracy on, and also blocked LNs that you have to time the holds correctly on. So it'll be it's definitely a step up from last week's pool for Group B players. I think even still, this one is probably going to be one of the safer LN picks out of the selection we have.
Yeah, we did see in a couple of the matches that LN was really a weak point for a majority of the Group B players. This is a bit of a tone up in difficulty. It is lower OD, so 7.5. So it should be a little bit more lenient, but obviously, yeah, this is still a coordination pick at the end of the day. And I really would expect this to be probably banned, but we will see on the future picks on LN and Hybrid.
Yeah, this is one where I think if you're a player that is like, I cannot play LN, this is like in your sights for potential ban. Because it's not in that category where you can kind of just pretend it's a rice map and like hack it out and hope that you win on combo. Like if you're not playing these LNs properly, you're just going to drop combo and it's not going to look good.
Definitely, but I also think some people would just choose this song because it's a banger, let's be honest.
That is true, and honestly, when I play, that's one of the biggest influences on my picks.
Definitely. we are in the time. We are in the cut version. We did have to cut this to make it on the duration to be, not 4 minutes. So unfortunately, the bridge is cut, but that should be fine. It's still a great song regardless.
And we're coming into the last section here. Nothing too dramatic, just more of the same, really.
Definitely. We just end just like that, and we move on to our second, in just a bit, our second custom LN chart created by yet another Australian mapper, Anathrax, with Assault Taxi.
This one is our density pick for LN, and as you can see right at the gates, it looks, it feels, it sounds so much quicker, and it is. This one is very similar to the other density pick in week 1, I believe it was Raindrop, where you can kind of play this like it's jump stream, but you will tank accuracy really bad.
Definitely, this is a bit more unconventional. Anathrax normally settles with his comfortable coordination, but obviously Fevrex had the honor of mapping that, so he went with the density, and you might have played some of his other ranked maps, which are sort of density themselves with anti-quarantine zone, and this is quite inspired from that, but kind of a ramp up in difficulty. The BPM is 154, but as you said before, that it is the LN density, so these releases will really trip you up if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, this one, it's also longer, I think, or it's on the longer side for an LN map as well. It will definitely take it out of you if you're not really good with managing your stamina as well, I find. Like if you're really pushing down, it's going to take it out of you.
Yes, but again, the OD is quite lenient. So at 7.3, you can kind of just, if you're in a Group B or maybe even low Group A, and this is just a bit too out of the ballpark for you, you can kind of lean into the OD. But we approach this quite technical section with these little LN bursts here, and yeah, this is a great chart. This is my favorite LN pick out of this week.
Yeah, the LN players will be loving this as a pick. I think it really is a pick your poison situation if you're thinking of an LN ban, because all of these LN picks are quite difficult, I found.
Definitely, these LNs will trip you up, but as we approach the end, 3000 combo, I feel like a good chunk of players in Group A will be able to get this no problem, but as Group B, you're going to have to look out for this and consider if you want to ban this or not.
And that was our second LN pick. Coming into our third LN pick here is Conflict. This is our wildcard LN pick, and you'll see right at the gates, it's very different from the other two. It's got these basically shield spam patterns here. everything in this map is shielded LNs throughout the whole map, basically.
Yes, definitely. This is very infitting for the name Wildcard. This is a bit of an idea we thought up where the map selectors and the mappers were cooking in the kitchen, so to speak. As you can see, Shield Lover here is playing as opposed to Shield Hater before. And this is definitely the definition of shields, as it's kind of insane for a week 2, if I'm gonna be honest, but I kind of love it for that.
Yeah, this map's very interesting from a tournament point of view because realistically, like, the patterns aren't actually too bad outside of the shields, so getting accuracy isn't going to be that difficult, but if you're not playing the shields like very well, you're going to be dropping combo all over the place because there's just so many of them.
Yeah, it's one of those charts where if you remove the LNs, it's all fine and dandy, but with the LNs, it's kind of hell. There's just some columns and anchors here that kind of really trip you up, and I'd imagine Group B players would be struggling with a lot more, and this is probably going to be the most banned, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah, the only saving grace I would say if you're thinking of LN bans against this one is that it is, in my experience, the most ricey of the LN picks. But again, like I said, the shields are quite brutal if you can't figure out how to get through those.
Definitely, we approach the final quarter again of this chart, and the LNs really just keep going. They really do not hold back, and we see these sort of trilly, bursty actions here. Really difficult for a week 2, and these LNs are brutal with the rice.
And this ending section as well is a lot harder than the rest of the map.
Definitely, but I'd be really excited to see a lot of these Group A players. I've kind of been hyping up the Group A players, but we just have such amazing talent there that I really am excited to see some of these scores.
Yeah, I think it's very warranted, the glaze. They've earned it.
Definitely, and we end our final LN pick, and we move on to a little bit more stableness, a little bit more rigidness with our hybrid, as we start with a more generic pick. You Are the Miserable. It's a bit of an edit, but it's originally mapped by Deku, and we'll get straight into it.
Yeah, this one, it's definitely a tricky one. I would say it's the harder, for me, my playstyle, it's the harder of the 2 hybrid picks. Especially the ending, it gets quite dense at the end.
Yes, definitely. This is, while still generic, nothing to be scoffing at, because this is quite dense. And if there were a couple more LNs, I would honestly say it'd be fitting into the LN category. But we're still in the hybrid, and we see just a couple of bursts. And yeah, these really tricky LNs that if you hold on for too short or too long, you're just going to trip up all your acts, so you really need to be careful with these.
I believe the technical term we coined was schlongs on the world stage.
Oh yes, schlongs. Yeah. How could I forget?
Or small boys if you're in my camp.
Hey, they're average boys. Come on.
If you ask me, these are pretty big clongers. Like.
Yeah, well, this is quite short, but everything in this Mappool from up this point is, relatively short, being the 2-minute, 2.5-minute range. But that just gives more opportunity for misses to be more catastrophic than they'd usually be. So if you're in Group B, probably I'd go with this pick and see if you can just out-combo the other player, as we saw in some matches. That's what a lot of people kind of opted for in the hybrid LN section, as we see it's just some split shows and jump shows, and we move on to a bit more jack demanding section of the chart.
Yeah, and in these jacks there's these long notes as well, that if you're just going for like the really heavy jack playstyle, you're gonna have to be very careful about these holds and these LNs sprinkled in between as well with this burst area. And here we get into the more dense section coming up in the last quarter of the map as well. It's going to be very tricky again, like you said. If there was just a little bit more LNs in this pick, it might have been considered an LN map, because it's getting quite technical, quite release pace on the LNs.
Yeah, it's really ramping up in difficulty here as we just get into these more doubles and triples, and then a little jump drill right there, with ending with a little roll. this really is kind of just testing if you've conserved your stamina by the end and see if you can hold on to this. So I really do urge more Group B players to really consider this as part of their arsenal, because combo really is your friend in more of these type of charts.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's big choke potential on this map as well, given how difficult it is at the end with that last pattern.
Yep. And we move on to our final hybrid, matched by our very own Alexia, Dispel Function Resolve.
Those of you who dislike the LN playstyle will be glad to know that this one is less heavy on the LNs, but
Definitely.
not devoid of them. There is still going to be around, just not quite as complicated in the patterning.
Definitely. As we just start into a bit of calm waters here, just a couple sprinkle of notes just to get the players accustomed to the BPM. Quite a low BPM, so this is just challenge you just a little bit more on how accurate you can be and not really your physicality.
Yeah, it's very difficult to act these really small release and shield patterns. It's going to be very tricky unless you've really honed in on that kind of talent there.
Definitely. These short, the schlongs here, they're a little longer than your average one, but shouldn't be too bad. I do assume a lot of our players will be using Percy, but I really assure and urge a lot of, especially Group A people, just wane off the Percy a bit, because you really can appreciate this shot because of its LNs and just kind of the gracefulness it presents itself.
Yes, definitely. And you can see this section is quite calm. You just have to remain composure with those holds here, and we're getting into a bit more of a dense section here. You can see there's a lot of little mini jacks and shield patterns here, quite similar to other maps in the pool. So if you have found success in those maps, you might find success here as well.
I do feel like, however, it is just a little bit less evil than Febrex's How to Make Slime in the previous week, but it's still definitely harder. But there were just some really evil patterns in the previous one, but this one's just a lot more consistent. But yeah, as we approach this section, it ramps up. So really, just don't get caught off guard.
Yeah, I definitely want to highlight those Grace Note LNs into Grace releases as well. It's just going to be an absolute nightmare to act if you're not comfortable on those types of patterns.
Definitely. We get to see just some more hand-dominated patterning here, and we approach just a little bit of a calm. I do think there's a final little pattern, but it could be smooth sailings from here. So if you've held your combo here, if you've got good act, I think you're in the clear. But again, this is kind of more of just act hell rather than pure combo like the previous hybrid. So if you're less comfortable with the physicality of hybrid 1, I suggest you go with this one.
And there we have it, the final hybrid pick of the map pool. And next up, we have one that I think I've seen a lot of people in the chat very excited for, which is our SV pick for the week. And that is going to be A Good Life, which is stage 1 from a different tournament. I'm sure staynoidedd knows maybe which one it is.
Yes, OMMT4 from the qualifiers, if I could not mistaken. It's a Malaysian tournament. So this was last year in July, but yeah, this one's a bit of a step up difficulty from our previous SV pick. As you see, we're going a bit more heavy with the teleport, so you can't just sight read this, and pray you get a good score like some other players did on week 1. You're gonna actually have to learn it, which is might be difficult for some people, but I feel like more old heads would appreciate this chart.
Yeah, this chart, it isn't actually, it looks quite rough the first time you watch it, but there are a lot of little patterns that if you pay attention to, it tells you what's happening next. And combine that with like the rhythm of the actual song, like the audio cues, it's actually very approachable. Definitely easier than Weeble Wobble. I think it's going to be a consistent point of comparison in the Mappool showcases. But obviously harder than last week's. It is very affable though as well, sitting at an OD 6.9, which I think is the lowest we've seen.
Yeah, we're just comparing every SV to Weeble Wobble. The incident is so real here. But yeah, it does get a little bit more difficult. You will have to at least visit the editor just to suss out some of those teleports. And, you know, as you can see here, you do actually have to memorize this and not just, you know, go off of positive vibes only.
Yeah, patience will definitely pay off as well. Like for that teleport section we just saw as well, if you rush in, you're going to be like, oh my god, this is very difficult. But if you just sit and like wait half a second, it's actually very, very approachable.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see some SV scores here. I want to see how Dame Chocobar goes, the GOAT himself. But really, we get to just approach the end here, and these LNs, if you're not really knowledgeable at the hold timings, these can really trip up your axe. So I would suggest making this a separate diff all on its own. But we reach the end of the SV.
And then we have it, the SV pick for the week, Good Life. And our final map of the week is the tiebreaker. And it is called Train of Thoughts, which is a representation of trying to find a train on a afternoon in Melbourne.
So true. Oh my god, so true. You've said the truth.
And you'll feel it.
Yeah, you'll feel it. This is probably one of my favorite maps in the entire game, to be honest. It is it's been mapped to death, this song, but for a really good reason. This is kind of just a classic, tried and true, and this is very difficult. A big jump up from the Mappools, other Mappools, but at 4.73, 180 BPM, I think this is going to be a really fun one, and I do hope we get to see some banger scores if we ever get to tiebreaker.
Yeah, this one comes right out the gate with just absolutely smashing you straight up, and it doesn't really let up at all. This will be probably, I would say, the first test of endurance, especially for Group B players.
Definitely. This is going to be kind of just not really a mash fest, but you will have to at least practice this physicality, because we have seen some density, but this is definitely done this by fine. You can just see these LNs really just don't let up in these jump stream sections, and really difficult to act right here.
Yeah, and you'll definitely be feeling, especially with the length of the other maps in the map pool, you'll get to about the halfway mark and be like, oh my, we're still going. Like, it's obviously the tiebreaker, 5 minutes 23, longer than the previous tiebreaker, which we did not see on stream, sadly. But this one is huge step up for all the players, and it's going to be a real big test of pretty much every skill set coming into it. You can see there's everything. There's inverse, there's jacks, there's there's speed, there's all consistency on the LNs and things like that. Like it's a very drastic increase in difficulty.
Yes, definitely, and we will try and get more matches streamed next week. And let's just pray. This stream has been going so far. I hope I don't jinx it, but technical difficulties will get sorted, and we do hope to see some more matches, because we really missed out on that tiebreaker match the other night.
Yeah, we do apologize for jinxing everything from here on out. Yeah, as you can see, the map has not really let up so far. There's been a little bit of a decrease in density, but it's going to pick up again. You got your little break, which you might not see as a break.
Yeah, and some have rumored to say this is what it feels like to take the Dandenong line at the Frankston line at 12 a.m. So really, just do be careful. Maybe avoid the Eshes at night, in my opinion.
Yeah, some people in the group might be more experienced in that regard than others. An unfair advantage, some might say.
Definitely. But yeah, this is we're approaching halfway. This is by far the longest. It's a tiebreaker, of course, but generally this map pool has been quite short in terms of duration for each song. But yeah, if you've gone up to this point, you're probably going to be unprepared for just how truly long this chart is, but it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, I definitely think this will be very telling for who, like, it's a great tiebreaker for telling who's going to be the better player for the next stage, because I think this will match up for some of the maps in the next week as well.
Definitely, we're going to be ramping up in difficulty in the coming weeks, and we do expect to see the grand finals. We'll only play the Group B winners, but we do expect to see the grand finals will be extremely unforgiving. This is just a little warm up compared to what we have cooking in the lab. You guys will get to see in the coming weeks. But as we approach this final quarter, we get a little mini jack action. And at this point, if you're holding combo and you're holding act, I think it should be smooth sailing from here. But definitely, this is kind of more suited to Group A. So we might see some, but I would assume we'd see this in Group B.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be an absolute romp if we see this on stream. I'm going to get everyone hyped for it. Especially because it's our longest map so far as well. There's so much room for, comebacks and drama.
Definitely. We just do approach the final minute, I do believe, and this song is so good. I just absolutely love this song, and we just do see a bit more bursts, and these LNs are just really difficult. But it should be fine, but we will see.
Yeah, as we're closing out the final last few seconds of the map here, approaching the 6,000 combo mark. No small feat, especially if you're in the Group B. You're probably a bit worried if you're going to tiebreaker, because this is a huge step up from what has been played so far.
Definitely, but that is the end, and that is a 99.72 accuracy score with 2 greats. Very nice score, Octfall. But yeah, that is the AusNZ 4-key tournament Week 2 Mappool. We hope you guys enjoy, and we really hope you enjoy, especially the LN, because we've been cooking that for a while, and these custom maps have been coming out steaming hot. So we really do hope you enjoy. I have been staynoidedd, and also Lusty Platypus over here. Do you have any closing remarks, or should we head off?
I don't have anything major to say. I just want to say a big thank you to our streamer Oct4 as well. Also the replay for Train of Thought. It's been a big production, so I'm glad. I hope you can all enjoy the streams, and we'll be seeing you shortly.
See ya.
Bye.